From Pokémon's racist behavior coming back to haunt her, to Ice Poseidon being swatted over 40 times, these are streamers with controversial pasts, starting with none other than Pokimane. You know, when it comes to the world of social media, one name that really stands out is Imane, or Pokimane as most people call her. With a whopping 9.2 million followers on Twitch, she's earned the title of being the most followed female streamer on the platform. I mean, that's huge. Now, while Pokimane has got quite the fan base and is generally loved by many, she's had her fair share of hiccups along the way. In 2019, an old video of her popped up out of nowhere where she was caught saying the N-word. Yikes! That's definitely not something you want resurfacing when you're in the spotlight. Now, you might think that this slip-up would be a career killer, but Pokimane handled the situation pretty well. She swiftly took to Twitter to address the situation and apologize, and didn't waste any time owning up to her past mistake and offering an explanation. But one streamer that just keeps making the same mistakes over and over again is XQC. This guy has had his fair share of controversies that you just can't ignore. I mean, where do I even begin? Back in the day, during a Twitch Rivals event, XQC got himself banned for stream sniping. Yeah, not the smartest move. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. He also had a run-in with some seriously offensive language that cost him his professional Overwatch career. In the early days of the 2018 Overwatch League season, XQC found himself in hot water for directing homophobic remarks at an openly gay player on an opposing team. The Overwatch League didn't take that lightly, and swiftly handed him a suspension, along with a fine of $2,000. Ouch! But that wasn't the end of it. The Dallas Fuel, his team at the time, piled on the punishment by suspending him for the rest of the Stage 1 competitions. To their credit, the Dallas Fuel made a promise to support XQC's growth and development as a professional player who would embody their organization's principles. They talked about getting coaching and resources to help him improve. But let's be real, they didn't really go into detail about what exactly they did to coach him up. Guess they wanted to keep that part a secret. Fast forward to XQC's return for the Stage 2 Overwatch League competitions. Everyone was hoping he had learned his lesson and would keep his nose clean this time. Unfortunately, that hope was short-lived. ESPN reported that he got hit with another suspension, this time for using racially insensitive language and violating social media rules. The Overwatch League wasn't messing around this time and fined him $4,000 along with a 4-game suspension. That's gotta sting! And just when you thought things couldn't get any worse for the streamer, the Dallas Fuel decided to cut ties with him altogether. In a statement, the team's owner basically said it's better for everyone if they part ways, and that was the end of it. But even XQC isn't nearly as bad as Tyler1 was. I mean, this guy is notorious for being the poster child of toxicity in the game. Seriously, his rage-induced streams were something else. He had a talent for blurring the lines between what's socially acceptable and just plain anger. The thing is, Tyler's behavior had reached a boiling point. His excessive flaming, trolling, and intentional feeding in-game were just too much for Riot Games to handle, not to mention his unsportsmanlike conduct towards other players. So, in 2016, Riot Games had enough and decided to drop the ban hammer on him. Yep, they perma-banned him from their servers, but did that stop Tyler? Nope, not even close. He kept on streaming on Twitch as if nothing happened, and believe it or not, gained quite the following. People were drawn to his entertaining and, let's face it, controversial content. The guy knew how to keep things interesting. During what he called his variety streamer arc, Tyler decided to make some serious changes. He started working on himself, making amends, and shedding light on his efforts to become a better person. And you know what? It worked. In 2018, the gaming gods smiled upon him and he got unbanned. While Tyler1 was always known for being controversial, Hasanabi had the opposite reputation. Yet even he's done some shady stuff. This guy used to be a part of the Young Turks crew and had quite the following. But he stirred up a lot of controversy with his brazen comments about the 9/11 attacks. You see, Hasanabi was reacting to the US military's extensive presence in over 100 countries. He then boldly claimed that America deserved the tragedy of 9/11. Yep, those were his exact words, and needless to say, they didn't sit well with a lot of people. Now, to give him credit, Hasanabi did eventually apologize and acknowledge that his words came out differently than he intended. But you know how these things go. The damage was already done. Twitch wasn't too happy about it either and handed him a temporary suspension for his controversial comments. It's a classic case of the power of words and how they can have some serious consequences, especially when you're in the spotlight. And it seems like Summit1G didn't understand that either. This guy just can't catch a break. Whether it's using sexist language on stream, perpetuating toxic masculinity, or doing the classic gamer move of being toxic when losing, Summit1G has done it all. But there's one controversy that got him into serious trouble. It all started when there were tons of assault allegations swirling around popular content creators. And what does Summit1G do? Well, he decided to share his hot takes on the matter. Needless to say, his opinions didn't exactly go over well. People were not happy with his stance, and it added fuel to the fire of the already heated discussions surrounding the allegations. When you have a platform and a big following, what you say matters. And in this case, Summit1G found out the hard way that his words can have consequences. So did Sodapoppin, one of the co-owners of OTK, who has found himself in quite a few controversies over the years. This guy seems to have a knack for stirring up trouble. From being caught on camera saying the N-word multiple times, to his most recent ban from Twitch for making a joke about blackface while creating a character on his live stream, he's no stranger to being called out for insensitivity and offensive behavior. With his edgy persona, it's not surprising that Sodapoppin has landed himself in hot water more than once. He has a reputation for pushing boundaries and sometimes crossing lines that many find unacceptable. So that ban on Twitch in April 2022 didn't go unnoticed by viewers. People have been speaking up, voicing their concerns, and calling for him to be held accountable for his words and actions. The same goes for Alinity. While things have been relatively quiet on the controversy front, her history is filled with questionable actions that sparked a lot of criticism. One of the things that got people fired up was when Alinity started copyright claiming PewDiePie's videos. Needless to say, that didn't go over well with the online community. It seemed like an unnecessary move that stirred up a lot of backlash. And then there was the whole ordeal surrounding her marriage for Canadian citizenship. She openly admitted that she got hitched solely for the purpose of gaining citizenship, and later ended up divorcing the guy. That raised a lot of eyebrows and garnered its fair share of criticism too. But the incident that caused the most uproar was when she was caught on stream engaging in some pretty alarming behavior with her cat. There was a moment where she flung the poor thing dangerously from her lap, and even fed the animal some weird liquor. Yeah, everyone was angry about that. And she wasn't the only streamer who went downhill real quick. Ice Poseidon was pretty much the same. This guy was once riding high on Twitch, pulling in insane numbers. But his downfall was inevitable, and it all started with his dangerous game of swatting. Ice Poseidon had this habit of letting everything out. He would leak his flight information, share personal details, and invite trouble into his life. And boy, did trouble find him. The police were practically regular visitors in his world. According to YouTuber Internet AJ, he got swatted around 40 times. Can you even imagine that? Because of his actions, Ice Poseidon's Twitch channel got the boot back in 2017. Yep, it was banned. That was a clear indication that things had gone way too far. But hey, guess what? From Ice Poseidon being swatted over 40 times to Pokémon's racist past coming back to haunt her, these were streamers with controversial pasts.